All right, so I think we're about ready to kick off. Again, thank you everyone for joining today. I'm really excited to have everyone here. And go ahead and hand it over to our co-presenter.
Hey folks, glad that all of you are joining us today. So first off, I want to thank Ryan and the Easyship team for putting this together for us. So Ryan is the Director of North America for Easyship, and I'm the CEO here at Savemysales. And the reason we're putting this together today is because a couple weeks ago, Ryan and I were talking with the rest of the Easyship team, and we realized that there are a lot of commonalities in the conversion questions and issues that our stores are having. And so we figured, why not just put it all in the open, sort of create a nice little forum for people to ask questions and sort of share our best practices that we've learned in the last couple of years running these two businesses. So without further ado, I'll pass it off to Ryan, and I'll ask all of you here today to really think about what questions we can answer for you while we're here. We'll try and get to as many questions. We'll have two sort of Q&A sessions throughout it. So we'll try and get to as many questions as possible, but the goal here is to solve as many questions around checkout abandonment for you here, and to give you as many actionable insights as possible. So without further ado, I'll pass it to Ryan, and let's kick it off.
Great, thank you so much, Steven. So today we're going to go through a standard customer journey that we're seeing in the market, kind of a not necessarily good, not necessarily bad, just kind of showing what we're seeing from a standard customer journey. So we all know you go onto a site, you have your buyers browsing, identifying what they want, they're putting the items in the cart, and then they're going to go to checkout. At checkout, we're usually seeing the price of the goods, and they're going to click on checkout, which will bring them to the information page. Okay, so this is where we're going to be collecting any data points that are required to ship the package, as well as anything you as a seller want to gather in order to properly communicate to the buyer or prospect. So after we put in that information, we're usually shown one of two options for shipping. First method that we see a lot is going to be a dynamic rate based off the platform that the merchant is on. So if it's a Shopify platform, they're showing Shopify rates. If it's a Magento rates, and so on. One of the things with this is you're seeing that there's very little data. It says 3 business days. Is that exact? Is there a range? Things like that. That doesn't really give the buyer a lot of clarity. The second and more popular option that we're seeing right now is kind of a flat rate shipping. Okay, so whether you're doing a domestic or an international order, a lot of companies out there are doing flat rate. They're saying, okay, for domestic, it's going to be a flat rate of $5, let's say. For international, it's going to be a flat rate of $45. So the benefits to this are there's no confusion. It's a single choice. Kind of the drawbacks are what the total cost is. That $45 international shipment could actually be $65, or it actually could be $20. So you're either having an opportunity to have a large cost associated with the shipment after they convert, or not providing your buyer with the proper rates. You're going to have the potential to lose that customer. So with flat rates and not a really transparent pricing structure, we're seeing that affects your conversion in cart abandonment. So we see about 36% of site visitors are going to abandon just because they're browsing, they're looking for the best price, or they're not necessarily somebody that is thinking to purchase right when they're on the site. 50% are going to be abandoning because of unsatisfactory delivery options. So what this means is that they see 3 options or 2 options, and they don't see maybe a overnight option, or they don't see a low cost or a free option. So this is actually the largest abandonment that we're seeing with regards to shipping. Also, you can see about 25% are going to abandon because of cost. Now, in this day and age, thanks to Amazon and the rest of The large platforms, a lot of our buyers are used to either free shipping or second day shipping. If we're not providing that as an option at checkout, it's a instant walk away. The last step is, so if they don't convert, they decide, the shipping option isn't there or the price didn't make sense, we're going to send them an email. A lot of companies today are just utilizing the platform or maybe one of the apps that are on the store that just send an automated email and each customer is basically getting the same communication. And again, not a very strong way to communicate to your customers. And for the majority of the time, you've actually lost that customer. Okay. So how are we going to look at this? So do we look at acquiring customers or are we looking at converting customers, right? So these are the two ways that I think about the market. And when we're thinking about it, we want to say, okay, what do we think? So 60% of businesses out there actually see value in establishing customer relationships, where only 38 see the value in improving the customer journey. Now, I found this to be extremely interesting because, as you can see, the customer journey is such an important part of that conversion. If you're not providing that customer journey that makes sense, giving them the option, the visibility, it's going to reduce your ability to create that customer relationship.
So just before we dive into sort of our ideas and our solutions for you all, it'd be great to get a quick list of questions that you guys may have, sort of seeing where we're going with the presentation. Perhaps there are some questions that you have that we can answer preemptively right now, or at least start structuring our conversation around the reasons that you came, the questions that you want to ask. So we'll give you just a minute to start chatting with us, start typing, and we'll answer them as they come. And if it appears there are no questions, then we'll move on, but we'll give it just a few. I see Christy's saying something.
And really, it's a great opportunity to just ask any questions that are related to conversion and kind of the topics that we're reviewing today. Anything at all, nothing's really off the table here.
So it looks like the first question is from Tivan or Tivan, similar to my name. And the question is, I'm receiving an increase in visits, but no real conversions. I made my first sale, however. So that's definitely a general conversion issue. And I wouldn't put it in the category of abandoned cart or abandoned purchase necessarily. I think there are different elements of your funnel that you may want to look at to figure out where people are dropping off. So can certainly send you resources offline for sort of how to think about the funnel. And we'll make sure you have some resources on that, Tivan. Second question from Christy is, how do you suggest to convert an unsatisfactory delivery? Ryan, do you have a perspective on that?
To be honest, I really think your tool is a really good way to help with that situation. So if you want to, I think you may go into that a bit later on, but if you want to kind of touch a little bit on that, I think it would be good for you.
So, Christy, if you don't mind giving us a little bit more on that, when you say convert an unsatisfactory delivery, are you saying convert somebody who has unsatisfactory options for delivery? Got it.
So yeah, that is me. That is me. I thought it was after the fact.
I would say the answer is probably both of ours. I'll let you answer first, but I want my stab at it too. So,
right. So Christy, yeah. Right. So Christy, I think I think it's important, obviously, to provide the best options at checkout. What we found in a few years of some pretty intense A/B testing is really providing like a free option and an option that maybe is a 2 or 3 day delivery lead time. So it's not necessarily an overnight or next day. And it's not necessarily the free, which may be a ground 3 to 5 day solution, but it's a second day solution. And giving your customers that visibility and the options we found actually helps. So if they want to pay an extra $10 to get it tomorrow, let them. It's not going to affect your business in any way, but at least they have that option. They're not going to abandon and go somewhere else because they need it tomorrow. They're going to be able to purchase from you.
Perfect. And Christy, the thing I'll add to that from the customer communication side of things, often you don't exactly know whether or not customers are identifying your delivery options as satisfactory or unsatisfactory, and that's where live communication with customers when to get to this stage is so important, because getting sort of a constant flow of feedback from customers as to what they really need to convert in that moment, whether it be a delivery issue, a sizing issue, general questions, that's really where you want to start starting conversations with customers when they get to that stage. And we'll go into exactly how we recommend you do that. So Nicole Rigby asks, we pass on rates directly from UPS, and they're usually pretty high. What can we do to increase conversion when the real issue is shipping rates coming from UPS?
So, Nicole, that is a really great question. There's a few ways to look at this, right? So there are tools in the market that allow you to provide highly discounted rates to your consumers as well. You can look at discounting your rates. So if you have a rate with UPS and want to continue to use your UPS account to help conversion, you can build some of that cost into your margin. So when you're showing those rates at checkouts, they're actually going to see a rate that's $5 when in fact the actual rate may be $10. And that differential of $5 is something that you're putting into the cost of that sale. So we're seeing both utilizing tools that are on the market to provide highly discounted rates, and then as well, if you have a rate or a relationship you want to maintain with a courier you enjoy, look at potentially doing a cost reduction for the buyer at checkout. Those are two really quick and easy ways you can reduce the abandonment because of the cost of the UPS, for instance.
Cool. It looks like we have a slight follow-up question from Tivan. So previously, I always had free shipping, but I removed it because I think giving it away so easy decreases its value. Any opinions? I think it definitely depends on the product that you're selling. So it's probably a more specific, nuanced answer. Backpacks, I see that. So the only real way to answer this question is to try it out and to see what the sort of different shipping options do to your conversion rate. The intermediate stage while you're testing, though, is to be having conversations with customers to figure out how they're thinking about your total cost. A lot of customers we see across all of our brands, a lot of customers say, yeah, I was going to buy, but then shipping ended up being too expensive, so I left. Two options there are to make free shipping up front, or to have a system by which you're giving people who identify shipping to be too expensive. You're consistently giving them a discount when they identify themselves. So a couple ways to do it, and happy to talk offline about what your specific strategy might be to up that checkout conversion rate. Any other questions from sort of in a different vein, or new people want to ask questions that they've been dying to ask? I'll leave it open for another 30 seconds or so, and then we can move on.
And Christy just asked about, she said, or in the abandonment cart email, making that email more meaningful info for the customer rather than you need to buy. So that's going to be covered a little bit later on, but I agree completely. There's a lot of different ways to communicate outside of just a you need to buy email, which is standard what we're seeing in the industry.
Yeah, Christy, perfect question. I'm actually about to get into it. That's like really all I prepared today, is to talk about sort of the difference between that automatic email that you send and then other forms of communicating sort of one-on-one with the customer. So hold the thought, and certainly you'll be offered the opportunity to ask more questions after the fact. Tivan has one more question that I think is actually really valuable, Ryan, because we do have a lot of folks with long lead times, especially if they're drop shipping products or if they have a portion of their business where they're drop shipping. So Tavan asks, how do you compete with long shipping times? Do you have a perspective on that from your learnings at Easyship?
So yeah, from a courier option perspective, you can provide free shipping solutions that are very low cost. So for instance, when you're looking at, let's just say, shipping from the US to somewhere within the EU, you're going to have a low cost solution be maybe a 10 to 15 day business day lead time. The key here is to ensure that you're also providing those shorter lead times. In addition to, I think, very important is how you're communicating and identifying the customers that are having issues or questions with regards to the lead times, and then communicating clearly to them on some different resolutions. But if you have the ability and you can identify a tool in the market that allows you to show the kind of a plethora of options, maybe 2 or 3 options at checkout that provide different lead times, you're allowing your customer to make the decision based on what they're willing to spend.
That's great. So the shipping answer is offer a bunch of different options and let people self-select for how quickly they want it and what they're willing to pay for it. The customer communication answer is give people an opportunity to tell you right then and there if they think your shipping times aren't up to par, if they're too long. And typically what we do for our customers is we open up that line of communication. We let them tell us, hey, I can't wait 3 weeks. And we say, hey, what if we gave you free shipping? Or what if we gave you a discount? What if we sweeten the deal here to make it worth your while? Because otherwise we know you're going to go to somebody that will offer this quicker. And anywhere from 10 to 30% of the time, that works for us. So definitely a couple ways to sort of maximize your conversion rates, even giving sort of real shipping constraints that you may have with your business. So Ryan, do you want to jump into the next piece?
Sure, great. So now we're going to kind of go into some different solutions that are available, obviously, things that we've identified in the market, being in the shipping game, if you will. We want to make sure that we're, as a merchant, creating a killer checkout and ensure that that checkout experience is providing, like we've kind of gone over in some of the questions in the chat, some really strong options for the buyer. We're finding that it's actually interesting when you do an analysis of your cart and you see how many buyers are choosing an express option over a free longer lead time option. It's usually anywhere from 10 to 23, 24%. And so if you're not providing that, you have the potential of losing that additional 10, 24%. Also, you want to nail your communication. So communicating with your clients is an extremely important aspect, and specifically when they're prospects. They're not clients yet. You want to make sure that that communication process is top tier so that you convert those prospects to obviously being a customer. In addition, we want to discuss a little bit about a kind of one-stop shipping management tool and methodology, and then discuss personalized SMS and how that can impact your business and create an additional vertical for you. So let's look at the checkout. Okay, so we went through some of the checkouts earlier. Once you have your shipping information, your address, and what have you, you're going to display either the platform shipping options or a flat rate. That's kind of what we've seen in the market and standards. What we think is a better way to approach it is to include a range, so clear delivery lead times. Set your customer expectations with the reality of the situation. Now, I don't know if anyone ships with UPS, FedEx, USPS, but they all have set delivery times. And they'll say, okay, we're doing UPS ground, it's 3 to 5 days. Okay, or they'll say it's 3 days. And we're finding that that is actually, for the most part, very wrong. So for instance, for Easyship, what we've done is we've identified through our tens of thousands of shipments each day with each of these couriers what the actual lead times are. So you should display what the actual lead times are, so that reduces your customer service calls. Hey, where's my package? I was expecting it in 3 days. It's been 4. So if you're displaying what the actual lead times are, 5 to 6 days versus a 3 day, those customer service calls reduce and your customer expectations are set properly. In addition, you're going to want to provide a competitive shipping solution, specifically when you look at taking your company global. Okay, we've talked about a free, maybe a longer lead time, and then a mid-tier, 2 to 3 business days. So UPS Express would be a good example of kind of a competitive global shipping solution that's available in the market, and there are many, many more that are out there. In addition, we want to show multiple options. Okay, we've discussed it a few times here, but showing a low cost / free solution, a mid-range solution, and then an extremely fast next day overnight solution, giving your buyer the ability to make the decision if they want the product now or tomorrow, if you will, or if they're willing to wait 5 days, 6 days for a lower cost. And lastly, what we want to do is have clear courier quality and visible pricing, or visible tax and duty at checkout. This is going to provide full transparency, and your buyer is going to have full visibility of the true costs and understanding of what an international shipment may be, and or the quality of the courier that they're choosing. Okay, I think at checkout it's very important to give as much data as possible. That way, the buyer is completely informed. And if you're doing an international shipment, they understand, for instance, that there's $20.39 of import tax and duty due at time of delivery. So there isn't that rejection at time of delivery, which then is no longer a conversion. So we talked about free shipping. Free shipping, free shipping, free shipping. It's something that is great and also can be a bit scary. So when you're looking at free shipping, we're seeing about 62% abandonment due to the lack of a free shipping option. Now, this is both for domestic, as well we're seeing more and more international buyers wanting either a free or an extremely low-cost shipping solution. Okay, so one of the things that we've done at Easyship is we've allowed our customers the ability to provide a free shipping option. It's always displayed as the cheapest, and then we're able to discount the express options based on what the free shipping option would be. And the reason we do that is because a merchant has already decided, I'm willing to take on the cost of this much X, let's say $5. And this USPS Global Post Economy is $5, so we're showing it as free. We will discount that $5 off of the $15 DHL Express to show 10. So now you're showing a highly discounted rate for a fast delivery lead time, and your cost is the same as the free shipping solution. Okay. We also want to make sure, again, that you are showing all the tax and duty, and there's very clear visibility into everything.
Cool. So now moving on to how to nail communications. Before we jump in, though, I have to reiterate how important the ability to show a real estimate of taxes and duties is for international. We run my other company is a bicycle company, and when we ship internationally, I can't tell you how many people we have at the end of every month reaching out saying, hey, I just got my bike or bike lights in Germany, but I got hit with this big bill. What's going on? So we have, this is a business that we ran for 5 years. And over the course of this 5 years, it has always been an issue for us to sort of figure out how do we present the customer with the total cost of this purchase right now to make sure that they have the best experience. So yeah, wise words from Ryan on that. But moving on to nailing communications. So just to frame the conversation here, the reason that this is so important is because back to this slide here that we showed early on, this reasons that people abandon. 36% of people are abandoning because they were just browsing or they found a better price elsewhere. These are reasons that the customer will give you, and what they're really saying is, you haven't convinced me. I had questions that I didn't really feel like asking. There's something more. So over a third of customers, you have the opportunity to talk to and to figure out what the issue is, and this is why you develop a communication strategy that sort of understands that. So I'll go into that here. The first thing that I think we should all sort of take a sigh of relief about is that Shopify knows that 60 to 70% of all the traffic that goes through your sites are ending up abandoning when they put something in the cart. So Shopify realizes that this is a large segment of the traffic that is going through all their sites. And so they're very, very good at collecting as much information they can from customers to make sure that you have the opportunity to remarket to them. So the two main pieces of customer data you're going to get from Shopify are the email address and the phone number. Now this, I imagine a good number of you probably know this already, but this is in the orders section of your admin, and under orders, there's a section called abandoned checkouts. And this info is captured when people go to the customer information stage of checkout, and they put in the email address at the top, and then the phone field at the bottom. And there are different ways in which Shopify will save this information. Typically, it is when they have put in this information and then clicked next to go to the shipping options stage. So most of you all have these sort of customers that are coming in every single day, or these sort of abandoned checkouts that are coming in every single day. And then the question is, what do I do with this information? There are millions of apps I can use to target these customers. There are millions of automations I can do. Where do I start? So I'll tell you what I think the sort of biggest bang for your buck is when you start doing this. And I'd love for you guys to start thinking about what you're doing right now, and if you have any specific questions about how to tweak what you're doing or how to change it, or whether or not you think we would recommend or support how you're talking to your customers. These are all great questions to have for Q&A. But here's how we think about it. So Savemysales, we have just over 600 companies that we do this for right now. And the two things that we really see moving the needle, both of those companies, or for all those companies, are emails and text messages. There's plenty other ways to market. Obviously, you've got Facebook targeting that you should be running in the background. There's the messenger retargeting, but the two main channels that you absolutely need to have, don't have them right now, and you absolutely need to nail if you're not knowing them, are emails and text messages. So email is like the example that you saw Ryan give earlier on the presentation. Email is that abandoned cart message that you get that shows what you had in your cart, says, hey, you got this, hey, we saw you were checking this out, here's your cart. That is going to get you back customers, because there's plenty of customers that just needed some time to think about it, or they were at work, or they forgot, and they just need something put in front of them. So that is a no-brainer. But what this channel really is, because it's a one-way stream of information, it's really for customers who don't need a human touch. They didn't really have any questions. It just wasn't exactly the right time for them to buy. So think of this as just an automated channel that you need to have. And offline, when we speak directly, I can get into best practices. We pretty much know what most of our merchants are doing on this front, and we know which ones are doing best. So I'm happy to give feedback on what you should be doing. But typically, you're targeting anywhere from 9 to 15% recovery rate with this. Text messages is the channel that you open up for the other type of customer. And that is a customer who needs a human touch. They were, quote unquote, just browsing, or they think they saw something cheaper somewhere else, or they have questions about sizing, or they have questions about shipping. There are a whole host of reasons that people are abandoning that aren't just, I didn't have time. And what text message is absolutely the best for is uncovering what those issues are and giving you an opportunity to solve them. So let's start with emails. I'm going to just show you the most basic way to start an email program, since we did get feedback that there's plenty of people who just haven't gotten around to it yet, or haven't really deliberately gotten around to it. So I'll just show you the few quick steps, and certainly offline we can do a little bit more consulting on this for anybody who needs. In Shopify, in the Shopify admin, at the bottom left, there's a settings section. So if you click on settings, you'll get what you see here on the left. And if you click on checkout in that settings section, and you scroll down about a third of the page in the checkout section, you're going to get down to an area called abandoned checkouts. First thing you want to do is turn that on by selecting automatically send abandoned checkout emails. And you want to make sure that you're sending to anyone who abandons checkout. Doesn't really need to be email subscribers. You want to make sure you're keeping the top of the funnel as large as possible. So anyone who abandons and leaves an email address should be fair game. Certainly reach out if you're interested in how you should actually customize the email. Shopify has sort of a standard email that they send that's okay. There are a couple little tweaks you can make to it that will make it much better. I can talk about that separately. But the key here for send time, what we found with most of our customers is that it really breaks down to what sort of product you are selling. And the distinction is whether this is an impulse buy or a product that is relatively low cost or a product that you have a lot of competitors for, price competitors. If that is the case, so if you're selling perhaps a cheap consumable or makeup or something that is under $40 value, under $30 value, you really have a limited amount of time to close that customer. So something in the 1 to 6 hour range for when you send this email is preferred. If it's a longer purchase cycle, something like a bicycle, for example, like my other company, furniture, something where you know people are actually taking their time and no matter what, they're going to shop around. Sometimes it can be a little bit overbearing if you send an email early, or it's just going to be ineffective. So anywhere 10 hours and out for that is also fine. But I would encourage you to try all of the different things and see sort of what maximizes your conversion rate with this particular channel. So let's move on to text message. So now that we've, and by the way, I'll actually just say on the email front, there are plenty of apps that will do many more versions of this. So you can create sort of a couple email flow. We typically recommend no more than 2 or 3. If you're interested in which apps we think you should use, there's a bunch that a lot of our clients use on the whole. I'm only showing you this right now because I want to give you something that you can do today. But if you're interested in what apps we recommend to make a more built out abandoned cart email strategy, hit me up. So on the text message front, if you're not doing this today, or if you haven't done it, or perhaps you can tell us in Q&A if you've tried this before, the people who leave their number for you are asking you, hey, I'm here, I am interested in your product, and it's up to you to figure out how do I engage with this customer to figure out why they haven't purchased yet, and to sort of figure out what I can do to earn their business. So a little backstory, the way I started Savemysales was through this bicycle company that we have called Fortified Bicycle. Almost 2 years ago, we had all sorts of customers that were getting to the checkout stage with our $800 8-speed bicycle, and they were abandoning at such a high rate that at any given time we had over 6 figures of potential revenue that was sitting there at the end of the month. And so we decided, okay, let's try and reach out manually to customers, not necessarily to close them, but to figure out why they're not abandoning. So we started downloading all of our abandoned carts every day. We started manually texting anyone who left us a number, and it was usually anything I can do for you today, help you out. Do you have any questions? And as a matter of fact, the first message that we sent was to a woman who had an $1,100 cart, and it was like everything. It was the bike, it was accessories, everything you could imagine. And she actually purchased that day. And all it was she wasn't sure about the sizing, and because she was about to spend $1,100, she really wanted to make sure that before she had this bike shipped to her house, it was going to be the right one. And we took that and we said, maybe this is something we can do on a regular basis. And sure enough, it works very, very well. And so over the course of sending somewhere between 500,000 and 1 million text messages since that day and turning it into an actual platform for Shopify, we've developed a sort of tried and true method for the format of the text message that you sent. So I'm actually showing you the real format that we use for Savemysales and what I recommend if you're going to do this on your own to start, what I recommend that you do. So the key elements that we have in our text message are the customer's first name, then who we are. So I am so-and-so from the brand. And the reason that you do this is because there's so much automated nonsense out there. There's so many sort of nasty automated text messages that are going out these days. People are sort of used to the email paradigm of just, this is just a robot sending you a deal. So saying this is a human from the brand immediately turns this into a customer service interaction, not a sales interaction. That's really important for the customer to feel like they're actually going to be respected in this interaction. The second thing you say is, I know what you are looking at. I know that you are looking at a particular item. So I already sort of have insight into what your state of mind is. A good sort of analogy for this is if you're in a shoe store in a mall and a salesperson comes up to you, they're actually going to be very specific about what they think you need. So they're going to say, hey, I see you're looking at those Nikes. Do you want me to try and find those in your size? They're not going to come up to you and say something very, very generic. The more specific thing that they say to you, the more sort of loved and cared for you feel. So that's why we add this part about the specific product. And finally, the last component to the message is something that is a question for the customer, so it prompts them to answer. We call this a CTA, right? Call to action. And that CTA needs to show immediate value to the customer. So showing that you are down to give them something, whether it's a free product, whether it's a discount, whether it's quick service, something where, and I've sort of made it generic here, how can we provide the most value for you today? And it's really up to you to figure out what that value is based on your business goals and needs. But if you just say, any questions I can answer for you, or let me know if you need help, and there's no real question there, you're going to get a much lower response rate than if you say, I am here to give you more value than you thought you were going to get. That is a message worth responding to for the customers. So certainly let me know if you have any more questions about this in the Q&A part of this. But this is so far sort of what we've learned from talking to customers, and I really encourage you to start it manually at the very least. Sort of moving on from the manual, I'm going to do a quick plug for Savemysales and explain why you might not want to do it manually. I do encourage people to try it manually themselves. I'd say 10% to 20% of our current stores that use Savemysales have done some form of manually texting their customers, realize that it's effective, but it's also kind of a burden to manage on a daily basis and to do it for every single customer. So that's really where we come in, is giving you an opportunity to start conversations with every single customer that is willing and to consistently close them. So the first, and by the way, there's plenty of sort of dashboard elements that we can show in a real demo outside and offline, but I'm just going to show you the core elements here so you understand. So the main piece to the Savemysales platform is a running conversation and orders list, a live dashboard where you see which customers have gotten an automatic message from the platform, whether or not they've responded, and then whether or not they've ordered. And you actually have the ability to click through all the messages that are happening in real time, all the conversations that are happening in real time on the platform. So how does it actually work? If you take a look at the right-hand side of the screen, this is an example conversation. Although we've had pretty much this exact conversation, we probably have this exact conversation with several customers per day. But typically, you've got this sort of same sort of outreach strategy where this message automates sometime in the first 24 hours of a customer abandoning a cart. The customer responds. So about 42% of customers respond to our messages. They'll say something like, wow, this is great customer service, or thank you so much, because nobody really does this in e-commerce. And then they'll typically say, shipping was too expensive, or I need something fast, or I had a question about your product. And then it's our job to answer that question. And the way that we're actually answering this question is we have a team of live agents all over the world that are English first. So they all speak English as good, if not better than you or I. And we sort of select them for that. They have to be perfect English speakers. A lot of them have sales and customer service backgrounds, and they're sort of sales motivated. A lot of them have worked on commission. So they understand that there's a difference between just giving customer service and saying I'm here if you need me, and actually providing answers that are going to help close the sale. So think of this as sort of like an outsourced sales team that's operating via text message. So if you take a look at the answer here that we give in this example, the customer's asking, they need this product by Saturday. Can they make it in time if they order today? And so what our agent actually does is, knowing this brand, having pulled in all the information about your brand, FAQs, shipping rates by country, by state, our agent quickly, within a couple of minutes, figures out that the only way for the customer to get the product by Saturday is to use express shipping. And they also have been authorized by you through the platform to give a certain discount that will enable that. You know, most of our brands understand that if the difference of closing a sale is something like $10 for express shipping, they're always willing to give it, especially to close a new customer that could potentially have a large customer lifetime value. So our agent is authorized to do that. They give them a code, and then they're also sitting there for any follow-up questions they might have. But the typical way that a conversation ends here is, holy crap, that is the best experience I've ever gotten. And whether or not we're doing that for you, whether you're doing it yourself, I encourage you to start text messaging your customers, because you'll see without a shadow of a doubt, you get the best feedback from customers in this channel if you're approaching them respectfully. So you can click into all of these conversations on the Savemysales dashboard and see who's ordering, and then also provide us, our team, with feedback on specific answers we're giving, so that we can continuously improve. You also get a dashboard that's actually showing your sales and conversion data. So this is real data from the month of June, I believe, for Fortified. This is about a 50 to 80K a year channel for Fortified. We do a lot of our volume in Q4. But as you can see, 54% of people opt in and put their phone number into the phone field at checkout. 39% in June responded to Fortified initial messages. And then 33% of those customers actually purchased, which is far and away one of the best rates that you can get in any channel. What we're seeing with a lot of our brands, just to sort of put it in perspective for you, is if a brand does a certain amount every month in abandoned cart email dollars, so let's say the brand does $6,000 a month in abandoned cart email dollars, then they're also going to see something similar in text, because what text message is doing is finding the customer that needed a little bit of love and needed to talk to someone, and identifying them and giving them sort of a voice and opportunity to convert. There's also a little section in the dashboard that allows you to actually look at individual orders in Shopify. So you can click on the link and sort of get a custom list, do an export, whatever you want with that data. So to sort of recap why we recommend you using something like Savemysales, why we recommend text in general and also Savemysales, is that text in general solves customer concerns, whereas pretty much no other channel can really do that effectively. Our agents will respond in under 10 minutes to anybody who talks. On good days, we're under 5 minutes, but on average, it's about 10. This allows you to grow revenue because it actually is attracting a different type of customer. It's not the automated data point customer, right? It is a customer who really needed some love. And quite frankly, all of us are that customer at any given time, depending on what the product is. So it is a real new channel that you open up right away. It makes the Savemysales version of this make sure that you don't really spend any time. So onboarding takes about 6 minutes when you download the app. And then we're there to sort of optimize the account for you on a regular basis. And we have account managers that will just reach out and tell you what we think we should do for your account. And we give you the sort of yes or no button. But we really run it like an agency that optimizes it for you, because we know that you're short on time. And then one of the coolest pieces of this platform that we kind of realized after the fact is that because you have real customer conversations that are happening in real time, unlike with an automated email sort of stream, you've got real insights about what customers aren't getting about your brand. So on a regular basis, for our highest volume accounts that we do over $500,000 a year for, consistently their marketing directors are saying, hey, this month I learned that customers don't understand this thing about the car charger, or customers really want a better shipping option. So sort of this constant stream of information direct from your customers that you can infuse into your customer service practices and your marketing practices. We are hearing from our customers is invaluable. And the last thing I'll say about the service is just sort of to quantify this. So we've got a 21% conversion rate for customers that we're talking to across all of our brands. On average, we do an additional 25K in revenue right off the bat for companies, annual revenue. So as soon as you start running this is sort of what you can expect if you're the average company that runs on our platform. And what sort of allows for all of this is the higher response rates that we get because of the messages that we automate for you. So we're automating not just the message itself, but time of day based on what kind of brand you have. And over time, we get better and better at figuring out when to send to what customer and what to say. But 43% response rate is really what's creating all of this opportunity for our brands. So without further ado, leave all your questions I'll go through your questions at the end here and then try and pick them off for everyone. But let's jump into the shipping side of things. Brian?
Great, thank you so much. So we're just going to look really quickly at a kind of how Easyship works for a single platform. We can manage all of your international, all your domestic shipments in a single place. One of the most important things is to ensure that you have a platform that you can that you can leverage for every single one of your customers, regardless of where they are in the world, and regardless of what channel you're utilizing to capture their business. So whether that's eBay, Amazon, Shopify, WooCommerce, BigCommerce, and so on, you have the ability to plug in. So that's why Easyship has built strong partnerships with all of those e-commerce platforms. In addition, I think it's really important you have as many courier solutions available, not to show all of them at checkout, but to have them in the arsenal so that when the customer is checking out, if they're in California versus in Hong Kong versus in London, we're able to provide localized courier solutions that they know. So London would be a DPD. It's one of the best couriers in the EU. California is probably going to be a UPS, FedEx, something of this nature. And then in Hong Kong, you're going to be looking at SF Express, which is the #1 courier solution for Southeast Asia. So really ensuring that you have the ability to select from a large plethora of couriers and courier solutions. In addition, when you're looking at international shipping, which every company online, if you have a store that is on the internet, you should open it up to as many potential customers as possible. So in order to do that, you have to understand that there are documents that are required, whether that's commercial invoices, declaration documentation, airway bills, how many airway bills do I need, and all of that. One of the great things about Easyship is we're going to automate all of the paperwork. So with a tool like Easyship, and really we're the only one in the market right now, we have been able to simplify international just to be as easy as domestic. In addition, obviously, very important is to provide tracking to your customers. So at Easyship, what we've done is we've been able to build out a customer or merchant branded tracking page, as well as provide full end-to-end tracking solutions to your customers. Now, I want to hit on this point just for a moment. There are a lot of brands that I would say the vast majority of brands want to have the most comprehensive tracking solution available to their customers. Now, when you're providing a solution that's end-to-end tracking, the cost of that solution is going to be a bit higher. Now, there is this, I would say, a little bit smaller segment within the e-commerce marketplace that wants the cheapest solution to always be displayed, despite there not necessarily being end-to-end tracking. And the reason they may want that is because they've identified that actually their customers don't care about tracking as much as they care about having that very low-cost solution at checkout. So maybe it's free, and what a UPS solution to the UK from New York may be $12, another solution with like a Global Post or DHL e-commerce may be $6. So you have a half price. Now that DHL solution most likely will not have any end-to-end tracking. So as a company, I always recommend consulting whomever you're working with, whether it's a courier directly or looking at a platform like Easyship, and understanding what each of the solutions are and how they can or cannot benefit your customers at the shipping level. Okay, in addition, what you want to do is leverage the technology. So we've hit on this a few times. Really, what we've identified is showing the fastest, the cheapest, and the best value shipping solutions at checkout have the highest conversion. They want it tomorrow, give them that option. And you as a merchant, there's going to be no additional cost because you're just passing through dynamically what the rate is that you're paying. Or you can discount it and maybe take what we covered earlier in providing a free solution with discounted additional express solutions. But that's up to you as a merchant. In addition to that, you want to always display tax and duty, always, 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 when you're shipping anywhere outside the US, even into Canada, right? It's going to prevent that rejection at time of delivery. I didn't know there were tax and duties due. Ensuring that you provide those customers with full visibility to the total cost of the product and the shipment is crucial to the customer journey and the customer's experience. In addition to that, when we're talking about tax and duty, one of the things that Easyship is really proud to offer is a guaranteed tax and duty at checkout. So you can actually have your consumers purchase or pay for all of the tax and duties and all the shipping at the time of checkout. So then when the delivery happens, there's no confusion, there's no contact saying you owe money. It's a pure handoff direct to the consumer because the tax and duties have already been paid. And one of the things that Easyship does is that guarantee. So if at any point Easyship's going to the border and there's an additional amount due, we're going to pay that difference. So it limits your liability and guarantees that the delivery is going to get to your customer without any rejections at time of delivery. You also want to make sure that you have clear delivery lead time, which we've covered, and the actual courier names, because for region-specific couriers, such as DPD for the EU, SF Express for Southeast Asia, Aramex for the Middle East, those regions know those couriers and want to use those couriers. Your conversion will instantly increase just because you're showing an SF Express for Southeast Asia and Aramex for the Middle East. So that's really some of the great technology that we have, that we offer free of charge to all of our customers. It allows us to kind of reach the global market instantly, as well as providing low-cost solutions out to all of their buyers. So we're seeing about a 3x increase in conversion. We're reducing customer issues specific to international by 91%. We're increasing revenues 5x because we're actually opening up markets that never were given access to the site prior. So for example, we have a great brand customer here in the New York area. I'm in Brooklyn. They happen to be here in Brooklyn. They sell wallets. And we launched them into Japan. We opened up one country to their store. They said, okay, we're having a decent number of site visits from Japan. I want to try it. They went and increased their revenue over one quarter by over $70,000, opening up one country. And so there's all these amazing opportunities, and of course then they expanded into additional markets and quickly identified, came back and said, you know, the cost of advertising is so much less in these different countries than in the US and Canada. I said, yeah. So the cost of acquisition is a lot lower. The average cart size, in addition to opening up a new market, is on average $200 versus $43 domestically. So there's all these great ways to increase revenues, which is why we're seeing that 5x increase. And we are reducing customer service inquiries by around 40% as well, because we're showing as much information as possible at time of checkout, and everything's done dynamically. So we recommend, from a buying process, do the checkout, go through and display all of the information with regards to courier selection, tax and duty, quality of the couriers, follow it up with a strong personalized email, ensure constant communication, and make sure that all of your shipping options are clearly listed with all the details that are possible. So at this time, I want to thank everybody for coming and participating. I want to open this up to a lot of questions. We see that there have been some that are populating already. So I think we have the first one coming in from...
Looks like Christy asked the next one here about text opting. So Christy, I'm going to actually send for you guys, I'm going to just send you 2 sites that this is running on, so you can actually take a look. So I'm sending you the product page of Fortified. Did that go?
Yes.
There we go. So that's one product page. If you just throw that product into your cart and then go to the customer information, you'll actually see in the phone field that there is an opt-in message. So this is for Fortified is a normal Shopify like basic or professional plan, which means that we can't modify the checkout on it with any sort of code. So the opt-in is an actual message that you drop into the phone field for that. For Shopify Plus merchants, you can turn it into a checkbox. We do a custom checkbox for you. Opt-in rates tend to be about the same, something in the 40 to 60% range, regardless of which type of Shopify plan you have. But those will give you the two sort of ways that we do it. Our sort of core principle here is make sure that we are telling the customer in which way we might reach out to them, and we get in terms of a opt-out rate or a why are you texting me rate, it's at this point less than 1.5%. So it's better than the unsubscribe rate for email, just because we are not saying buy, but we're actually approaching customers in a sort of respectful customer service manner. Second question from Christy was, can your platform work in our Zendesk? Would you have your own seat? So most of our clients use some sort of Zendesk or Help Scout solution. What we found is that the goal here is to actually take a lot of standard customer questions off your plate to the point where you don't really even need to look at them. 90% of the questions that we get from customers are really just available on the FAQs, or you've sort of given them to us up front, the top 10 things that people ask, and we're just using templates and maybe doing a little bit of research for the customer. But it tends to not be something that our clients really even want to deal with or want to look at. And when there's a question that we can't 100% answer correctly, your customer service lead or whoever's sort of managing it will just get a quick text message or a quick email saying, hey, customer's asking this, what should we say? And not only do we send that answer to the customer in a text message, but we also save it to our knowledge base for later use. So you really think of this as sort of like a load balancing system as well, where we handle a lot of questions that you typically get, and you don't really even have to worry about the communication. If you do need to look at it, you can easily look it up in the platform. But good idea. Eventually, maybe there'll be an integration. But right now, it's not really something that people are begging for as we're doing this. What else?
So it looks like we have a question. Any recommended websites for watching other websites' traffic? Any good stats on your competitors? To be honest, there are a lot of really interesting tools out there that are available to look at kind of what the market's doing and entering in a website. For myself, we're partnered with a website called eTail Insights. And they allow you to understand exactly what's going on with any customer. Also, just looking at any Alexa rating, things like that, you'll understand a little bit more about their traffic as well.
So next question is, any opinion on affiliate marketing with Shopify? Is the question around how to do it or whether it's valuable? Is it as effective as other sales channels? So it's a really cool question because we talk to so many brands who have never done affiliate marketing and are doing great, with other channels, Facebook, maybe some influencers, but affiliate marketing is something that some brands are doing exclusively, and that's like how they built their brand. I can say with quite a bit of certainty that the brands that we see growing fastest in our network are doing a combination of Facebook ads and affiliate marketing specifically on Instagram. So they reach out directly to Instagram influencers. I should say influencer marketing. So they reach out directly to influencers and they say, please make this post, do a handshake deal on how much they're going to pay for the post. And if you have a brand that is properly targeted to that influencer, we have companies that are paying $50 for posts and doing $5,000 on each one of those posts. So they'll do a $10,000 day with just $100 in ad spend. Now those are really, really sort of rare success stories, but there's sort of something there's opportunity for any sort of brand if you can get the right influencer to sort of post for you. So I would start there. If you haven't done anything, I'd reach out directly to influencers, and you can sort of follow that same strategy in all sorts of social media channels.
Okay, and so I want to try and wrap this up a bit. I see a few of the people we've been working with. I really appreciate you guys joining. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to myself. I know, through our partnership, Savemysales and Easyship is going to be working together to help customers increase conversion, get more orders. Our entire goal as Easyship is really to help companies expand rapidly, and through partnerships with Savemysales, we're really helping that end goal. Whether it's garnering a new market or communicating properly, the end goal of both Savemysales and Easyship truly is to help companies expand, create more revenue, and gain those additional customers.
Awesome. And Ryan, just since I actually didn't see it in the slideshow, and I'm curious myself, what's the sort of free trial promise for Easyship? How does it work for when I'm talking to other merchants as well?
For Easyship itself?
Yes.
Yeah, so Easyship is 100% free. We are actually going to be sending out a voucher. I didn't want to talk about it too much, but we are going to be sending a voucher to everybody that attended today. It's going to be I believe it's a $25 or a $50 voucher. So you'll be receiving those in your emails. You can go ahead, if you do not have an Easyship account, you simply create an Easyship account at easyship.com, EASYSHIP, and all you need to put in is your email and name. And you can actually go in and enter the promo code, and you will have that additional cash to start trying the platform and taking advantage of some of the discounted rates and see how it works.
That's awesome. So we'll do something similar as well. I wasn't going to until you just upped the ante, so thanks. But just from a free trial perspective for us, the way we do it, we do our free trials in dollars, not in days. So we guarantee a certain amount of sales that we're going to generate for any brand based on the traffic that we see their site getting when they first install. And our promise for anybody that has attended this will be to add a significant amount more in dollars that we promise the brand to try out. So even if you keep it for 6 months and we haven't hit that number, you still got it for free. But our goal is to set a bar and quickly beat it to show you that we're actually the real deal.
That's great. All right, great. So again, I really want to thank everybody for their time today. Again, we'll be sending out email so everyone has our contact information. If there's any questions, feel free to give us a call, shoot us an email. You'll see that coming through here very shortly. And I'm excited to continue to work with everybody. I know we're going to be working on some additional webinars and training opportunities that we'd be really happy to have you guys engaged with. Let us know if there's any additional topics you'd like us to cover in the future as well.
All right, thanks guys. We'll see you next time.